Here at Accountex 2017, there's a lot of buzzwords floating around, with Fintech being one of them. I'm here with AccountingWEB's business editor, Tom Herbert, to find out more about how accountants are using Fintech to help their clients.
Yeah, thanks Richard. So Fintech, or financial technology, to give it its full title, is one of those buzzwords that can be so broad and generic that it can be completely inaccessible to your average accountant on the high street. So what we've tried to do at Accountex 2017 this year is to unpack it a little bit, give a few practical tips in terms of how accountants can use Fintech to help their clients. The first thing we've done is to look at alternative finance, so ways in which Fintech is providing sources of alternative finance for clients. The second thing we've looked at is the payment space, so alternatives to banks, the banks' clearing houses. And we've spoken to a few firms to find out how this is being done.
Thanks, Tom. So we hit the scene today to find out more about Fintech. While the theory looks good on paper, many accountants are still sceptical about alternative sources of lending, and many prefer more traditional routes such as lenders, brokers and loans. However, the recent deal FreeAgent struck with NatWest could be the tipping point and provide tangible evidence for alternative sources of lending. We spoke with both parties to find out more.
Hayden and I have actually just delivered a session on open banking. So this is another one of these kind of disruptive changes. You talk about making tax digital, we're talking about making banking digital at the same time. So one of the core aspects on this is around the feed of information, both to and from the bank. So I think that bank feeds have been one of the more transformational things that a lot of the accounting software providers like FreeAgent and some of the others have really seen a difference in terms of getting bookkeeping accuracy and information flow. Accountants can then rely more on automation and more be confident the information is correct because it's coming from source rather than being input by the client. So what we can do now with the partnership between NatWest and FreeAgent is actually work very closely on those data flows and make sure the information is presented as fast as it can and to as much benefit as it can from an accountant's point of view.
Good stuff. And things like push notifications, Hayden?
Absolutely. So we're building into our systems, alongside the guys at FreeAgent. When the data that feeds into our system will tell us things that we believe are going to happen in the future, the forecasting tool, so we can then send push notifications, text, emails, whichever the customers choose, whatever they choose. A lot of it's mobile, so the growth of mobile is huge and on the go. So we can actually let somebody know well in advance that we think there's a particular need that we can help them with, or a partner of ours internally or externally can also help them with.
We've heard a little bit about how Fintech is currently affecting the accountancy world, but what's the future? We spoke with Sage's Fabiola Stein and Lisa Collins from Nine Spokes to find out what's coming next and about how Fintech can benefit accountants. So we're joined now by Fabiola Stein from Sage. Fabiola, we're talking all things Fintech today, and bank feeds, of course, is Fintech in action. So could you tell us a little bit more about bank feeds?
Sure, really exciting developments in tech right now. So Bank Feeds Manager is an intelligent bot that has been designed specifically with accountants and bookkeepers in mind. What it does, it downloads directly from the UK leading banks all transactions from banking statements, and it matches them automatically. So it takes all that expensive costs of labor-intensive matching and reconciliation that accountants and bookkeepers have to do hundreds of times per day.
So Fabiola, one of the big trends we were just speaking about a moment ago that's sure to hit the market soon is collective intelligence. So could you give us a little bit of a tease what Sage has up their sleeve with this?
Yes, so it's a really cool application of machine learning and how we use big data sets in order to analyze a lot of data. There's a lot of safety in numbers when you use collective intelligence, and we're going to be able to provide all of these insights to benefit businesses and consumers. We recently announced an acquisition called Compass in San Francisco, so there's definitely more to come to benefit accountants and their clients this year. So stay tuned in Sage Labs.
So Lisa, how is Nine Spokes responding to the fintech boom?
I think Nine Spokes is a product of the fintech boom. I think we have a place in the market simply because there are so many apps that have come out of what was a niche industry and has just exploded. I mean, this room is a really good example of the fact there are so many products out of there, and what we're here doing actually is bringing the noise out of that marketplace and making it easier for people to find the right products for them based on their industry and the size of business.
And how can accountants leverage this?
So I think what we believe we offer to accountants is the value proposition that we are actually taking the noise out of the market for them as well, helping them retain their status as a trusted advisor and understanding what is in the market for them and what the challenges are that their customers are facing and responding appropriately to that.
So we've managed to catch Alan Hemingway from Hemingway Bailey straight from a session on fintech where Alan was on the panel. So Alan, fintech's been a big buzzword this year at Accountex. What do you see as an accountant, the benefits and also the disadvantages of fintech?
From an advantage side, the new sort of breed of sort of clients, etc., who want to be more millennials and more want information quickly. The fintech stuff is brilliant for them because they actually apply online, get very quick decisions. So just been also learning about iWalker, and they're saying get quickest decisions back in 3.5 minutes. It's like brilliant for a company want to do that. Also, a lot of times they want to see what's out there for them, and they get a quick sort of decision, and then also then they get the more permanent sort of footprint of what the credit checking has been doing. Disadvantages. Interest rate wise, don't they seem any worse from anywhere else? Obviously, they would need access into their financial data. A lot of the people that link into the software, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because for me it means that the clients make sure they get the data up to date, and we all know if clients have good, accurate financial figures, they're more likely to actually get good funding outcomes, and that's really important to us.
So that wraps up another year here at Accountex. And while fintech seems to offer a lot of potential and possibilities for accountants at this year's show, it still seems like a bit of a buzzword.
Absolutely. Talking to accountants around and about the show, the message is slowly getting through, but there's still a lot of work to do to get it into the mainstream. Around the alternative finance space, it has impacted on the speed of decision, but has yet to really trickle down into the rates. But payment space is seeing a lot of disruption, and it'll only increase in the coming years.
And the feeling that we get is that fintech is really going to come into its own next year and the years to come. So we'll be back next year to find out more about fintech.